Welcome to the Never Ending Backlog podcast, your place for short reviews from a gamer with the goal of reducing his backlog. From adventures to sandboxes, join our host as we walk through a collection of unplayed treasures. Now, let's take a look at the featured game of this episode of the Never Ending Backlog.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Never Ending Backlog podcast. I'm your host Zach. So a brief disclaimer before we get started. I actually have played today's game for hundreds of hours in the past. However, it was all done through Origin and not on Steam, which I picked up last week on Steam's autumn sale. So I officially have 0 hours on today's game, which is The Sims 4, and I just can't let that happen. You know, it is my intention to remove Origin when I get enough of the games purchased on Steam. Origin is just not really fun for me. My friends don't use it. I like to keep all of my games into one place. GOG, Good Old Games, did a great job with their kind of, system where they can basically connect all these different games together into one platform. And they even do like console games as well. You can kind of see them all in one place, which I think is really nice. I'm not a fan of Origin. It's just, not for me. I've had some issues with Battlefield Bad Company 2 in the past, and it was a frustrating experience. But anyway, so what is it? Sims 4 is play with life and discover the possibilities, unleash your imagination, and create a world of Sims that is wholly unique. Explore and customize every detail from Sims to homes and so much more. The genre is casual simulation. The release date was 2014. The developer was Maxis, and they basically are responsible for all the Sims games, the SimCity games, Spore, etc. The publisher is Electronic Arts, which you can pretty much guess they've created everything in the world. Apex Legends, Titanfall, Battlefield series, Star Wars Squadrons, The Old Republic, and so many more games. How much is it? Currently, Sims 4 is $4.79 on Steam, down from $39.99. Oof. Alright, let's jump to the actual review of it. So the Sims 4 clocks in at just over 16 gigs. And considering the amount of content in the game, that's pretty impressive. I don't think it's actually as large as I thought it was going to be. It does have a lot of stuff in The Sims. Upon initial startup, I was presented with what I had feared, the Origin login screen. Fortunately, I don't have to use any of my credentials from Origin, which would have been a bummer since I already own it there, so it'd be just weird. But The Sims 4 for Steam is exactly The Sims 4 I own on Origin, and it still uses Origin's launcher, even if it is just a light version. So that's kind of frustrating. I basically bought the game again, but for $4.79, that's fine. Regarding graphics, I enjoy the graphics of The Sims. They're brighter, they take advantage of lighting effects, and it's just a cheerful game. The game works really well on all three monitors, and overall, it really doesn't require much fidgeting. The Sims just figures out how to work, and it just works. Regarding audio, super cheerful sounding. The Sims have their own language, so it's kind of like listening to people who speak Pig Latin. It's also funny when you play the radio, because they clearly are playing songs that are real songs, but they have the fake Sim language going on, which I think is pretty neat. Regarding controls, easy to grasp controls. It's pretty much entirely dependent on your mouse skills, point and click kind of thing. Regarding gameplay, for anybody that's not aware of The Sims, essentially you create your family. It can be just you, as mine traditionally is, and you move to a house or build your own, as I traditionally do, and live a life. Now, you don't directly control your Sims. However, you have a presence over them. So you can click and tell them where to go to the bathroom, eat food, go to work, etc. However, they're also fairly autonomous, so you're not constantly telling them to wash their hands. You won't have to constantly tell them to go here, here. You can tell them, be like, go to this spot, go to this spot, go to this spot. And if you set up like these, tasks, they'll do it in the order that you assigned it to them. But like if they know it's like they have to go to the bathroom, they will go on their own. Or if work's getting close, they will go to work. There's times where they might miss work because maybe you assigned a million tasks and you told them not to go to work, and they will miss it and they'll get late to work and they might get written up or something like that. So there is some control over it, but not as much as you might think. It's not like Diablo where you're telling them exactly where to go, and if you don't tell them where to go, they're just standing there. Regarding difficulty, I don't find the Sims 4 to be particularly difficult. There are times where your Sims does something for no apparent reason. For example, my character, Zach, that's real creative, I know, would go into the fridge and make multiple salads all at once and not eat them. They would just get spoiled. Like, he'd go in there, make a chopping block and get the salad all prepared and put it on the counter. Then he'd go back in the fridge and do it again and again and again and again. And unless, if I wasn't catching him do this, he'd just go crazy. And also, I will say, regarding difficulty as well, a big part of it is the more characters you have in your family, the more people you take care of, the the more difficult it's going to be because you're now managing more than one person. My character's a loner, very much as I am pretty much in real life. So I play myself. So, I write a book or read a book or play music or play games, something like that. It's pretty much what I do. I just make my guy as popular and rich as possible. I will say I play the same character in every single game, in every single Sims game. It is a guy who looks just like me. Maybe with a little bit crazier hair that I want to do, but I'm not going to do it. And he is always a writer because you can self-publish books and make continuous revenue from it. It's relatively easy to level up in writing. So he always reads a lot and does all this type of stuff. And that's all he does. He just writes a lot and he makes money real fast. And then I put it all towards the house and make this a really cool house. Regarding achievements, I'm assuming since this is an Origin game, there aren't any achievements within Steam. However, I did earn trading cards. So that's cool. Pros, with The Sims, you can live out an alternate life. Or as I do, I live out my life as I see it in the years in the future. There are plenty of activities, things to build, friends to make, and items to complete in the game. And it's certainly a robust game. It is a massive game, and it's really fun. Also, the home designer is extremely addicting and relatively flexible. So when I was younger, I would play home designer games that people would use to design their future homes, like an actual architect construction type of games. And I'd spend hours designing my dream house to spec. The Sims kind of allows you to do that in more of a game-like manner, which I really like. And also, there's a ton of content available in the base game, not to mention all the DLC packs. There's a ton of DLC packs. Now, for the cons. Unfortunately, there's so much DLC, and the prices are usually quite high. There are a lot of packs I want to get. However, if I were to get them all, it'd be hundreds of dollars. And I feel it's a little too pricey for my blood. It's crazy because some of the DLC packs are $39. And they're like, oh, we got on sale 50% off. It's like you're still spending $20 on a game that came out in 2014. So it's 6 years old now. And you're charging me $20 for each DLC package. And you have 10 of them. So I'm spending $200 there. Not to mention all your mini packs either. There's we have smaller furniture packs. Those are $5. And it's like, it will add up. You don't need to buy them. By all means, don't. I haven't bought any of them on the Steam version. I do have them on the Origin version. Unfortunately, they don't transfer over. That's frustrating. But anyway, another con is it is a 6-year-old game, and $40 is very pricey. So I understand EA, you just brought your games to Steam. You got EA Play and all this stuff, and that's really cool. Keep that price low. $39 for Sims 4 is insanity. I know they keep adding new content, and they do add new DLC all the time. They're still adding new stuff, which I think is really cool to keep that game supported. I really appreciate that. But $40 seems a little high, considering the amount of DLC that you want people to buy anyway. Start it low, let them buy it if they want it. Another con, it still uses Origin as a launcher. You aren't required to have login credentials to Origin, but it still runs on that framework. So if you're hoping to get away from Origin, you're not going to be able to, which is kind of a bummer. Regarding interesting stories, I pretty much play The Sims to build my house. However, I like to build my frame of the house when I build my house and have my Sims work so I can add the details inside it. So basically, I go broke building this outside of my house. Beautiful design, really cool brick, super tall, usually has a little courtyard, but the inside is just completely empty. And I make my character basically live on a bed in the corner, and there's no doors anywhere because I can't afford doors. And I'm just, as I'm making more money, you can just keep on adding to your house and putting on stuff on the inside. So I imagine that's how I'd actually do a real house in the end. And my favorite house I've ever built was a replica of the underground bunker from the rom-com movie Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser, because I always thought it'd be amazing, and I love the Fallout games for this. I always wanted to live in a bunker. It's super weird. I'm aware of this, but you know what? Blast from the Past was a fantastic movie. Christopher Walken, Brendan Fraser, Alicia Silverstone. Watch it. It's amazing. Your life will be amazed. So anyway, would I recommend this game? If you have The Sims 4 on DVD or Origin, which I have both of those, then I would probably pass on this game. As I mentioned earlier, it still uses the light version of Origin to verify the game data, and therefore is the exact same game. If you're like me and want to consolidate all your games into your Steam library, then I'd say snag it when it's on sale. Like I said, I got it for relatively cheap. If you're looking at The Sims 4 at the full $40 MSRP, I don't recommend it. The DLC is cost prohibitive, and although it's a super fun game, the cost is still way too high for a 6-year-old game. Save it until you can get it on sale. If you've never played them before, start with The Sims 4. I have 1 all the way to 4. I have all of them in between. I have all the DLC from the original Sims in the boxes still. I've always enjoyed them. They're amazing. I actually played Sims 1 just not too long ago on my old vintage computer, and it was so much fun of how far this game has come. Definitely start with The Sims 4. You'll enjoy it. It's a good game. You don't need to buy the DLC if you don't want to. If you find yourself getting into it and you just want to keep expanding to it, buy the DLC. Support the developer. I mean, Maxis is a great game company. They've been around forever. And you know what? I know a lot of people don't like EA Games. I love EA Games. They made my 007 games. They made my Star Wars games. They've been around for a long part of my life, and I'm sure there are some politics and controversies with working for them, but they do make terrific games, and I have a big history with them. So definitely check out The Sims 4 if you find it on sale. For $40, probably pass on this one. But thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk soon.